What is going on, everybody? Now, I know it is Thursday night, and normally this is your Tuesday touchdown, and we already went live one time this week on Tuesday, but it was so many things to talk about. We decided we wanted to come back and do it again. So, got my man in the building with me, former NFL running back James Mallory, as we like to
Yes,
call him
sir.
around these parts, the NFL pedigree. James, we shed some salary this week. There's rumors running rampant of everything, and I wanted to sit down tonight and just talk a little bit about what do we believe is true, what do we believe is false. We got this whole Tremaine Edmunds trade rumor floating around. If the Bills could do that, we got now that Bobby Wagner's free, it seems like everybody in the world wants to sign Bobby Wagner. So we're just gonna talk about a lot of things tonight and break some things down and give some opinions on it from both sides of the spectrum. But James, what is going on, man? I know you've been hearing everything. Anything? Which rumor did you find most interesting that you heard this week?
Most interesting, the Christian McCaffrey one.
Right.
I seen that, and I mean, what I think is funny is when I said the Bills should draft Travis Etienne last year, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't always think about position; you got to think about surrounding Josh Allen with weapons, right?
Right.
Christian McCaffrey is the same type of player as Travis Etienne, same style,
Hmm.
and now everybody's saying, "Oh, we should get Christian McCaffrey." Well, why would it have been bad if we drafted Travis Etienne? That's another story. It
That's
didn't
yeah.
happen.
Then
It is what it is. But I think
did
that one's interesting because you could play him and Singletary at the same time. That's a
right.
matchup nightmare because you could put him in the slot, you could put him in the backfield. There's so many different things you can do with Christian McCaffrey. And also, let's not forget, he can return kicks and punts.
Hmm. No, you're right.
Um, yeah, so I think that would be an interesting fit. And you don't have to run them in between the tackles like they did
Didn't
in
Carolina. Yeah.
Carolina.
Right.
But I mean, looking at the salary and stuff, I mean, do a match up? I don't know, but I mean that one's pretty interesting. I think that would be a really good weapon to add to our offense.
Right. And we'll get to that. Like I said, I'll look up the salary later and we'll inform people what that salary will be. Um, but obviously we'll get to the news first. If you guys did not pay attention yesterday, the Bills did shed $3.4 million in savings by cutting veteran guard and I could honestly say probably say fan favorite in John Feliciano yesterday. There was rumor reported that John Feliciano was approached for a pay cut and he said no, and the Bills said okay, we're gonna go opposite direction. But Brandon Bean came out last night later saying that team never offered him a pay cut. We'll just cut him. So thank want to thank John Feliciano for his services. He was here and he's part of the turnaround. He's a part of it. So that's just one of those things, man. 3.4 million. It's not a surprise if you guys went by my list. If you follow my Facebook page, I had John Feliciano getting cut. I know you said it before, James. He was never going to make it on this roster with that salary, and especially to switch to Aaron Cromer. Didn't know he fit a system or not, but we're not even going to get a chance to see that. But they did incur 1.5 billion debt. Today, the Bills also re-signed receiver Jake Kumaro to a one-year deal, as some people call him Touchdown Jesus. I think he only has one touchdown here, but that's the name that we have dubbed him, so we'll call him that. But yeah, Jake Kumaro re-signed to a one-year deal. So I think after the release of AJ Klein and the release of John Feliciano, the Bills now sit at a little bit under $2 million positive. So we're in the black over the cap now. Going to the we had to be under the cap by March 16th. So now we're under that number. So now we'll wait to see what happens with a guy named Cole Beasley. If he can find a trade partner. If not, I think he may be your next guy to get sliced and diced, if you want to call it that. So the first topic of the night that I really want to get into is, I want to hop right into it. I want to talk about this whole Bobby Wagner, Tremaine Edmunds thing because the minute that Bobby Wagner was released, everybody in Bills Mafia went a little nuts saying, hey, let's go after Bobby Wagner. Get rid of Tremaine Edmunds. Now, mind you, I'm not going to say you're crazy. I'm not going to say you're not making any sense because there is two sides to this. But there's an age gap between the guys. There's Both guys have been relatively healthy throughout their career. Bobby Wagner obviously played more years, and we know that Bobby Wagner is an impactful linebacker. The other aspect is Tremaine Edmunds has been he's been good. He's been solid in my opinion. I don't think he's been all world. He's not elite by any means, but he's been good. But there's a big decision coming up with his contract and if you're going to sign him long term. Now, James, I know you have some thoughts on his contract. I also know that you believe that if you sign Tremaine Edmunds to a long term deal, you may not be able to sign Ed Oliver later on to a long term deal. So I want to talk about that. So let's hop right into it. I think James has locked himself off for a second. But I do want to talk about this Tremaine Edmunds thing. So obviously, when we look at a Tremaine Edmunds, the first thing that we see is 23 years old, former first round pick, going into his fifth year, and 3 Pro Bowl nods, if you want to call it that. Obviously, we know the Pro Bowls can be said to be not really necessarily nods, more of less an alternate, not necessarily that Pro Bowl guy. But yeah, a lot of people don't like his play. A lot of people say, hey, Tremaine Edmunds cannot read defenses. Some people say that Tremaine Edmunds is a liability in pass coverage. But what is known is that Tremaine Edmunds has a 5th-year option that's being picked up for $12 million this season, and that you're going to have to make a decision to resign him. Now, personally, I feel that Tremaine's contract may be somewhere in the realm of 12 and a half, 13 million per year if you resign him. If you go by over 4 years, and James is back. If you
I'm
go over
sorry
4
about
years,
that.
it's
Don't know
okay.
what happened with my phone. It went crazy on me.
No, it's okay. I'm just going over Tremaine Edmunds' contract, and I was saying that multiple people, some people love his play, some people don't. Some people say he's a pass coverage liability. Some people say he has trouble reading defenses. Other people say he's solid. We can win the Super Bowl with him. But
Yep.
the biggest factor is, hey, we have to sign him to a long term deal if we're going to keep him here, and that deal could be pretty pricey. We're talking about possibly a 5-year deal for up to worth the 13 million, maybe 13 and a half, even possibly 14 million per season, and that's not cheap. So I want you to talk about your guy Tremaine Edmunds, this guy that you have defended, I have defended, but Bobby Wagner's available. Would you make the switch, if possible?
All right. This is a tough one for me because I'm a Tremaine Edmunds believer. Um, Bills fans a lot of Bills fans are
Mm-hmm.
completely unfair to him. Why? He's a very good football player. What fans look at, they play fantasy football, or they play Madden create a player, where you'll create a linebacker that's 6'5", 250 pounds, run a 4.5 like him, and it just all world, right? So they look at all his physical tools and they assume that he's going to be just Ray Lewis part two. It's just this awesome, just the best linebacker you ever seen in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, he is what he is. He's a very good football player. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people expected more than what he is, and they expected a first team All Pro. When in actuality, he's just not just, but he's a Pro Bowl linebacker. That's what he is. Not an All Pro linebacker, but he's a Pro Bowl linebacker. That's what he is. And I feel it's a situation where the Bills are going to have to choose: are you going to sign Ed Oliver, or are you going to sign Tremaine Edmunds?
Mm-hmm.
And I think right now Ed Oliver probably will win that, and they probably will pay him over Tremaine unless we can work it out. Um, but would I make the only way I would make the switch, and I'm the one I said this during the season. We got a ticket for that. I said it during the season that the only way the Bills wouldn't sign him to a long term extension,
Mm-hmm.
because I kind of knew Bobby Wagner would be free,
No, you did.
is
You
if
do it.
we replaced him with Bobby Wagner and moved on from Tremaine. That's the only way I would be comfortable with, sign Bobby Wagner to a 2-year contract and
Mm-hmm.
move on from Tremaine. Um, I would do it, but you would have to give me a hell of a lot for Tremaine Edmunds. You're talking about a 2-time Pro Bowl linebacker that's 23 years old. 23. The man is going. He can sign a 5-year deal extension, right? And
Mm-hmm.
at the end of that deal, he would still be 28 years old.
Right.
Think about that. He'd still be 28 years old. Um, So, I would short term. On the only way I would do that is, if you got a plan in place, um, you know,
To switch to
with
Bobby Wagner.
Wagner. Yeah, that's the only way.
Right.
Otherwise, Tremaine long term. Short term, I would take Bobby Wagner and roll with it. But it would have to be the right price. I'm not gonna pay him a crazy amount either.
Well, this is the thing about the price, right? So if you sign Tremaine Edmunds to, I don't know, let's just say a 4 year, what's 4 times 12? My math is bad here. 4 times 12 is what, 48 million? So let's say you get him 4 years, $55 million deal. Maybe even five
Yeah,
for 60 something, 65, something around there, right? If you sign Bobby Wagner for a similar price tag, it's only going to be a 3 year deal, possibly, maybe even two, maybe probably three with a 2 year option, with a second year being a team option to go into a third. It still frees you up to resign Ed Oliver when it's time. The caps don't collide, right? And even if they do a little bit, you can, like I said, you can manipulate the cap, and I've been saying this all week, and put Ed Oliver's first year of base salary low. And don't remind you, Ed Oliver still has to come out and play this season. It's not guaranteed that he's going to get paid. So I want to make that clear. There's no guarantee he's getting a big payday. But I'm going to assume that he is going to play well in this next year coming up, and he's going to break out, and Buffalo's going to have to pay him. And you're always going to pay the pass rusher over. You're going to pay over the linebacker. 9 times out of 10, you're going to pay the pass rusher over the linebacker. But this is the problem with Tremaine Edmunds, right? And I think that we use this excuse that he's young. And I get that he's young. But I've also seen people in the league that came into the league young. Example, Amobi Okoye. I believe he was a 19th pick overall, 17th pick overall for the Houston Texans. Came out of Louisville at 19. Everybody said the same thing. Wow, this gets really young. So he has more years to develop somehow than the 23-year-old senior that was coming out. Well, after year 4, he hadn't developed, and he didn't develop anymore. And yeah, he was still young. And this is the same situation with Tremaine Edmunds at this point. I think he's coming along just fine. I still think he's not a natural middle linebacker in a 4-3 scheme. I would understand if the rumor was true that if Pittsburgh was trying to trade for him, why Pittsburgh would in tune put him in a 3-34 scheme at middle linebacker, because I believe that's the type player he actually is. He's an attack guy. He's not a guy that's going to read the quarterback, read the formation, and say, all right, Poyer move, Hyatt move, Levi bump up. He's not going to be that. That ain't who he is.
no.
He's a sideline to
It's a
sideline
noticeable
attack player.
difference when
Mhm.
we don't have them.
Right. So I think that's what people want. And if you make the switch to Bobby Wagner, that's exactly what you get. And it's going to be a tough decision. If it even comes down to it, right? If you're Brandon Bean, you're sitting in your office right now, yeah, you're ready to go all in. Do you make this short-term switch? And mind you, I hate short-term all-in switches. I really, really, really do. But the last thing I like to see is to extend Tremaine Edmunds on a 4 or 5 year deal worth 65, 70 million, somewhere like that. And he still has the same exact flaws at age 26 as he has at 23. Because the way I look at it, James, honestly, if I give you the keys to a car at 18 and you're a bad driver, and at 22 you've been driving on the road for 4 years now and you're still a bad driver, it didn't matter if you got the keys at 22 and now you're 26, or you got the keys at 18 now you're 22. You're just a bad driver.
Yeah, it is what
that's
it
just
is.
that's just what y'all. You're just a bad driver, and that's what scares me about Tremaine Edmunds. I've been saying since the day we drafted him, a middle linebacker in a 43 scheme it's not the proper fit for him. He's more like a KJ Wright, and mind you, it's funny that we're comparing to KJ Wright, and that's been Bobby Wagner's running mate for the last 10 years. But that's exactly who he compares to. The Seattle Seahawks tried to do the same thing with KJ Wright. They put him in the middle of the defense, and it was not his position. They want him there because he was 6'4" with long arms. It doesn't always work that way. Like I said, I don't think Tremaine Edmunds at this point is going to get much better than what he is. But like you said, at the level, he's a Pro Bowl alternate linebacker. That's what he is. I don't want to say he's a Pro Bowl, but he's a Pro Bowl alternate. linebacker.
At the end of the day,
Mm,
the man is going to make 8 to 10 Pro Bowls in his career. Period.
mm.
Nothing about that is bad. He's going to make 8 to 10 Pro Bowls in his career. That's just what it is. And he's a good football player. It's just
He's
people
solid.
look at his size
Mm,
and they think something different. If he was 6'2", 230, people would talk about how awesome he was. But he's 6'5", 250, and people put these unrealistic expectations on him instead of watching film and
mm,
knowing who he is. If you watched the film and knew who he was,
mm.
then you would be okay with how he's playing. But you have people look at the draft and look at his 40 time. They watch the combine and think he's just supposed to be doing stuff that's just not what he do.
Mm.
That's what happens when you have people that watch the combine and watch highlight tapes and not watch game film. You get unrealistic expectations. That's just what it is.
When you look at the Super Bowl, right, and you looked at Logan Wilson playing linebacker, who played linebacker very well for the Bengals this year, and he was drafted in the third round last year. And I believe that the Rams middle linebacker was Troy Reader and a second stringer who came in for their first stringer who got hurt, I believe. You can make it to the Super Bowl without having an outstanding middle linebacker. I
If
want
you
to
got the
talk
right pieces around him.
if you have the right pieces around them, correct. And that may be a point where you say, maybe Buffalo looks at it and says, hey, we're not going to pay him because we think we can get by with less if we put more around in other places. That's a real conversation. If you don't want to bring in a Bobby Wagner, if you don't want to bring in a linebacker, that is a real conversation because you're going to look at it, you're going to say, well, we have one of the best secondaries in the league.
But
If
you
we
got to
could,
bring in a true leader at that position, though.
yeah,
Because this team is ready to win now. So you got to bring in somebody that's proven and need to be a leader. It would not be smart to stick a rookie. Not saying you saying that, but it
mm-hmm,
wouldn't be smart to stick a rookie right there. It just wouldn't be.
mm-hmm.
And you got to get a hell of a lot for Tremaine Edmunds. If they don't, they better want the burn for that dude.
What's the least that
Let's
you?
be honest. He's a top 10 middle linebacker in the NFL. You can't tell me 10 middle linebackers better than him.
I give you that. I mean, when we really think about it, there's tier one and then there's tier two. He's in tier two because tier one is your Darius Leonards, your Devin Whites, your Levante David, your Bobby Wagner, who knows how much longer he's actually gonna be in that tier. Let's be honest about it, right? The wheels can fall off any day now. Those are your guys that are in tier one. Then you have your Tremaine Edmunds, your Logan Wilsons, who I mentioned, those type of guys. So yeah, I can give you that. He can be top 10. He's not elite. He's not elite by any means.
No, he's not elite, but he's a top 10 middle linebacker. Like I said, he's a very good football player.
Yeah, he's solid. So, I mean, you can't have a top five defense. 4 out of 5, this is gonna be his fifth year now, but 3 out of his 4 years, pretty much a top five, top 10 defense, and actually top three twice, with him just being absolutely horrible. It doesn't add up.
No.
And the reason I say it doesn't add up, and he can't be that bad because our pass rush has been that bad. It's not like we've been pressuring the quarterback and getting sacks. It'd be different. We had Tre'Davious White and Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde doing their thing in the secondary like they've been doing, but then we were also getting sacks, so it covered that linebacker play. Hasn't really been that way. Like I
Yeah,
said,
I mean the defense is noticeably better when he plays. I
mhm.
mean the game when he didn't play, you
Mhm.
noticed it was a hole in the middle of the defense.
No, you
Like
did.
you noticed it. You know what I'm saying?
No, you did.
What they need to do to help him, you need
Mhm.
a space eater at the one tech. You need somebody that's gonna keep hands off of him and let him just fly around. He has to fight off too many blocks right now, and that's not a strength of his. They're
Or
not doing
him
a
or
good job of
Milano.
having,
Him or
huh?
Milano. For him or
No,
Milano. Neither one of those
no.
guys.
They need dogs up front to keep hands off of them, and they're gonna fly around and tear people up. That's excuse me. That's what they do, and
Yeah.
we need to get people to help them do that.
Well, that's the thing because when we really think about it, I look at Tremaine Edmunds really as an outside linebacker playing middle, and Matt Milano honestly is really a safety converted to linebacker.
Whoa, hold up. Somebody put Klein play way better.
Well, I think he got it wrong. Klein played very good when he played, but he wasn't at middle linebacker either. Klein played on the outside as a blitzer. He wasn't
You
in the
know
middle.
what? I'm sorry to interrupt you, JT. That's just preposterous. Go ahead.
No, but I think people get that mixed up. Klein did not play in the middle. He played on the outside when he came in. I believe when Edmonds was out, Dotson played in the middle. If I'm correct, am I correct? I believe Dotson played in the middle, but Tremaine hasn't missed many games anyway. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Me personally, I'm to the point where I'd probably make the switch if I could. I'm just gonna be honest. I'd probably make the switch if I could. Because like you say, you're in a window right now. And I think that's the way this team played this year. Um, there was a frustration not only for the fan base, there was frustration for McDermott, there's frustration for Bean. And it doesn't fall on Tremaine. I'm not blaming Tremaine for this. But at the end of the day, you got to make tough decisions when it comes to money now. Now that you've paid your
Yeah.
quarterback, and we've been waiting for this, we knew when the quarterback was paid that you had to make tough decisions. I don't know if locking Tremaine Edmunds up for the next 5 to 6 years is going to be financially responsible. I and I go back and forth with it. Like I said, every minute of the day I'm going back and forth with it because like I say I like Tremaine Edmunds. I'm a Tremaine Edmunds fan.
Yeah,
But
you just can't go backwards if you get rid of him. You can't go backwards.
right,
It gotta be somebody that's better. And right now, Bobby Wagner's obviously a better linebacker than him. You have to go forward with something like that. You can't get rid of him and go backwards. It's gonna set the defense back.
I mean, really, let's think about this conversation we're having. It's only Bobby Wagner or nobody else for Tremaine Edmonds at this point.
Oh
That's not
yeah,
a bad
absolutely.
conversation to have.
Not at all. You're
Now, if
talking
you're
about Pro Bowl players. One is an all pro, but you're talking about really good football players.
right now, if you're telling me that we're just going to trade Tremaine Edmonds and get another first round pick, well, you better damn well have another plan if you don't have someone coming in. You better have a real good plan. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. And I know the three teams that were rumored to be in on Bobby Wagner, which just should be obvious. When a guy like his at his caliber gets released, it's always your top three teams in the division or your three rivals. It was the Rams, the Cardinals, and the 49ers are rumored to all be ever interested in Bobby Wagner. That report could be BS or it could just be the team doing their due diligence. But just like today, if the Bills release Devin Singletary, they're not saying they would. No rumor here. In Miami, the Jets, and the Patriots will all be interested in bringing in Devin Singletary because that's just how it works. But at the end of the day, I think we both agree that if you can bring Bobby Wagner in a short-term deal, financially, long-term, it'll help the Bills. And honestly, schematically, defensive-wise, as long as he's healthy, it'll help defensively. So that hurt, man, because we defended Tremaine Edmonds for a long time, man.
Yeah, but you get that point where it's like I think it would be player for player. I don't know if they would get picks. I think it would be a player for player deal if they did.
Well, the only team that was rumored was Pittsburgh, and that was say I don't know if I actually believe the report. It was reported by Chad Forbes, but it's an easy report to say Pittsburgh, honestly, because obviously his brothers are there. Um, but at the same time, Pittsburgh runs a 3-4 defense. You just signed that. You just drafted Bush the other year, and you just traded for
But they
Schobert
was
as well. So
disappointed with him, man.
who
They
Bush?
was disappointed with how he played last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you're right. Yeah. I mean, Brian DC says Chris Claypool. Claypool. Yeah. You could say receiver moved. We don't know at this point. It could be almost anything.
I'm not a Claypool guy. Now you talking about somebody that underachieves for their size.
You don't like Claypool?
I mean, I'm not saying he's bad, but I expect more.
Well, yeah, let him get a quarterback that can throw. That don't have to throw the ball in 2 seconds. Let's
I
see.
agree. They got the case. They dropping the football. I don't give a damn who the quarterback is. No excuse to drop that football.
And by the way, if you're watching the show, please give us a like and oh well, he's saying that was a rumor, Edmonds for Claypool. So that made that and schematically that may actually make sense though, because the Bills are looking for that big guy that's going to stretch the defense. Like I said, we just talked about this Tuesday when we were talking about DK Metcalf to the Bills possibly, and not saying that we heard that rumor, but we were talking about the two things that people kept saying that Allen needed: size and speed. And Claypool's another guy that presents both. And you know what? Maybe it does make sense because obviously Claypool and Mike Tomlin were not on the same page last year. And Mike Tomlin's a no-nonsense coach. If you don't want to be here, as he said about Melvin Ingram, I don't hold hostages. So Mike Tomlin will move on from you quick. He moved on
Yeah.
from Le'Veon Bell. He moved on from Antonio Brown. Hell, he'll move on from Cliff Claypool as well. Um, but let's move on, man. We'll see what happens with the Bobby Wagner thing. I personally think that he's gonna possibly stay in the NFC. He may go to the Rams. He may go to the Rams. Older players like familiarity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
True.
so, so the second rumor that we heard this week was there was a rumor that the Bills were close to a trade for Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey. Now, I read this source. I don't know if this came from I don't know if this came from Heavy. I forgot where the rumor started, but the rumor was that the Bills were close to completing the deal for Christian McCaffrey. And it was like Cole Beasley and like a 5th or 6th round pick, something like that. And I looked at it and I said, I don't know about that. That didn't quite sound right to me. That the Panthers would trade him for that little, and I know he's had injury problems, but we know what that type of dynamic player he is. And two, why in the world would Carolina want a 32 to going to be 33-year-old Cole Beasley? It didn't make too much sense to me, especially when they just played DJ Moore in the slot last year most of the time.
Yeah.
And he was putting up probably some of the best numbers of his career. I don't know. I don't know, but we'll discuss it anyway and think about if the Bills are going to trade for Christian McCaffrey. Would it be a smart idea? What type of impact he can make, and would it even be feasible? But I'll start with you, Christian McCaffrey. You're a running back guy. Would he add value here in Buffalo possibly?
Yes. Definitely. Definitely.
Mm,
If you he's a guy you give 15 touches to a game, not
okay.
carry touches. It's a difference.
Mm,
Um, Devin Singletary, I still think he's earned the right to be a number one back in this league.
mm,
Um, you sign Christian McCaffrey, man. There's so many different things you can do, man. You can have two, Josh Allen, two backs.
right.
You can run so many different. Man, that's a dynamic offense right there. And then you can motion him out to the slot. Now he's a weapon. You line him up with a linebacker. That's an obvious mismatch. Um, you line him up out there. Now you moving the linebacker out the box, hand it off to Singletary, or you run quarterback power with Josh Allen. You create a lot of mismatches with him in that offense. So
Mm.
I'll be on board for it. That's the price tag may scare me a little bit, but just talking weapon wise, yeah, I would like that.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan, we will be getting into that. And we'll be talking about Evan Ingram tonight too. I heard that rumor. We just put that out. I think it's some truth to that. Not necessarily a fan of it, but some truth to it. But yeah, get back to Christian McCaffrey though. It's a guy I wouldn't mind seeing here in Buffalo. Obviously, we would really have to look at the cap numbers and things of that such because he does carry a high cap number. From what I'm reading, and sometimes the bonus money and how it works in the roster bonus money is not mixed into these contracts. It seems like if it was a pre-June 1st trade, which this is why I find it far-fetched for Carolina to do this, they would have to take on 18.5 dead in cap money, and they would actually lose $4 million off their current cap. So they would save anything. So obviously post June 1st would be 5.7 dead for them, which seems more feasible, and $8.6 million in cap savings. Like I said, that's numbers off over the cap. I'm not exactly sure because sometimes they don't mix in the roster bonus money. I actually got caught talking about Daniil Hunter earlier today, and it seemed like his dead money would have been about 11 million for the Vikings and 14 million savings. But what they didn't put on over the cap was his roster bonus kicked in for $18.5 million on March 20th. And after that kicked in, then yeah, if he was traded, Minnesota then would incur $20 million in dead cap immediately, which that's almost like cap. That's like cap suicide. That's what that is. So obviously I have to look a little bit more into numbers about McCaffrey, but hypothetically, if this deal was to go down, I could see the Bills doing this, not for a third round pick in Cole Beasley. Um, but I would think it would take possibly a second round pick in Cole Beasley because the Bills are picking so late in the draft. I would think it would be a second round pick in Cole Beasley. What he would add, I think he would add that dynamic that we both were looking for last year. the thoughts of adding a Cordell Patterson currently, the thoughts of drafting a Travis Etienne. Those, when it comes to our minds, this is why we get the Christian McCaffrey here. Because we've been saying you need to give Josh Allen, and your keywords, James, always is a weapon. A guy who can catch the ball out the backfield. A guy who can take it 0 to 100 quick. McCaffrey adds value in every single one of these aspects. But the big problem is that McCaffrey, since getting paid, he ain't played too much football. I think he's missed like 21 games out of the last 33 that they've had since getting signed. It sucks. It really does suck that he's missed those many games, because he's a dynamic player. Even in the little time that he's played with Carolina in the last 2 years, you see the difference in their team. You see the difference in their offense. But there's a guy here by the name of Joe Brady who thought he was getting Christian McCaffrey in his first OC turn with Carolina, and it kind of wrecked him, to be honest with you, without having him and him getting injured. So, I mean, for the right price, I'd be willing to do it. And the reason I'd be willing to do it, because the other rumor, James, is that Buffalo could possibly bring him here and, as you say, touches, move him to the slot receiver, which I think would make him ultimately dangerous. What are your thoughts on him being within this offense as not just a running back, but maybe being moved to that receiver spot?
Yeah, I think, if you play him in that Reggie Bush rookie year mode, how they used him in New Orleans, dude, you talking about, just think about this. You bring him in, you sign Cordell Patterson, right?
You're still signing Cordell Patterson with Christian McCaffrey here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Can't trust him with health, being honest. You sign those two. You go from a team that lacks speed to a team that's dangerous as hell. And think about what that'll do for Stephon Diggs. People are not thinking about that. So you can literally bring out, all right, you can roll out Cordell Patterson. You can roll out on one formation. You can roll out Cordell Patterson, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Christian McCaffrey. Dude, that's dangerous, man. Anybody that knows football, and everybody watching this, football, you watch football, you watching us, some football. That's dangerous, man. That's dangerous. I mean, why not? If you can. If it makes sense, why not? I would love how he would be able to be used in his offense. Think about motions. You got to bump the defense over when this motion to the right. Defense got to slide. You got to respect them. If not, dude, you're gonna get torched. You know what I'm saying? So, and think about how Cole Beasley. I'm not saying he's as crisp of a route runner as Cole Beasley. So don't chew my head off.
He might be actually.
Yeah, but Cole Beasley, he cold with it. I don't want to do that boy nice with it. I can't just do that to him. That boy nasty. I don't mean Christian McCaffrey not nasty with it. Cole Beasley take that to a whole nother level. But that don't mean Christian McCaffrey not special. So if he's able to get busy, imagine us getting some of those passes. Just say he had 82 catches last year. Just say 30. Imagine 30 of the catches Cole Beasley had. I'm pretty sure 4 of those those would have been huge chunk plays. I mean, touchdown chunk plays. So you put him in this offense, a lot of things change.
And Cody Wells points out that you did say Ken Dorsey is very creative. You said that when we gave him the OC job, and that's to verify that you did say that he is very creative. So it's gonna be interesting to see. As our man Dane Robertson says, linebackers will have a really hard time. Our man Barry in DC says draft Jameson Williams, who I'm very high on. I'm very high on James Williams. If he falls to 25, then I'm running up the cart, run up to the podium of the cart myself. Rob says add Gronk in there, which I still think Gronk is coming. And Brian also says you got to counter KC with Tyreek speed, which I think I 110% agree with that. No doubt about it.
You know why I'm not big on that as a football player? You got to do what you do. You got to do what you do to an elite level. Dude, it's not many Tyreek Hills. The speed that dude play at, man, it's not many of him running around. So if we try to mimic that, we're gonna fail. So we got to figure out what we do great, and do what we do great better than whatever the Kansas City Chiefs do.
Well, Christian,
And they got enough problems in their own division. You know what I'm saying?
oh
So,
yeah, they got a lot of
you know what I
problems
mean?
going on
So,
right now.
honestly, we can't worry about a Tyreek Hill. You know what I'm saying?
It,
We need to do what we do and do it great, and everything else will fall into place.
but you know what? Christian McCaffrey is pretty damn fast in his own right, though. He's pretty damn fast. So, like I said, for the price is right, I definitely add Christian McCaffrey if you could. Um, you like I said, manipulate the cap. It's time for Buffalo to start playing with the cap. Like I said, we've done this built through the draft thing. We have the culture fixed. Now it's time to start doing some of those Mickey Loomis moves over there from New Orleans and manipulating the cap. Not as bad as New Orleans. Like I said, you don't want to go $100 million in debt, but the window could close really fast. The window's here now. We need to win within these next 3 years. Period. And yeah, Daniel says team tried to copy what the Warriors did, and they can't because they don't have the right personnel. It's correct. I totally
You
agree.
can't do that in sports, man. People, that's where a lot of fans fail at. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we got to get somebody fast because they got Tariq Hill. No, we just got to do what we do and do it to an elite level to make us a better football team. That's all.
Right. So we're gonna be taking some questions too here, but I think it was one last topic that I wanted to get to. I thought we're pretty much those were the main two that we wanted to cover tonight, as far as just the rumors and things of that such, you know. But I do want to talk to James, and I know James wanted to talk about a little bit about some of the players that we would love to see, and then obviously we got that rumor floating around of who the two defensive players that are reportedly looking to get the Buffalo and sending their representatives to talk to Buffalo. Um, oh, one more talking point of Christian McCaffrey thing too. You know, I know there's the injury concerns. Before we move on, this is where, and I keep hyping up the Bills training staff. And maybe I'm wrong for this, thinking they can just rehabilitate anybody, but that's how much faith I have in this training staff that we can keep a Christian McCaffrey on the field here in Buffalo. I have so much faith in those guys. They do such a wonderful job, and it's such a change of scenery from the old training staff that we had back in the day. We had that nasty turf, and it felt like every single one of our starters would get hurt every week. So shout out to Ad Pro over there and the things that they do for the Bills. But no, I want to talk about some of these rumors. You know, obviously people are talking about there's two defensive players who have had the representatives contact the Bills to say they want to go here. No guarantee they're going to sign here. No guarantees that they're even great players. They said veterans, which I think is a very key word to use when you use this word veterans, because veterans can mean it's a high profile player that's now 35 years old and not in a shell of himself.
Yeah,
or
that's very well could be true.
so, you know, I kind of read into that a little bit. Or a veteran could just mean, hey, it's somebody that's been in the league more than 5 years or 4 years, and they're looking to come to Buffalo. And they could be in their prime. But if it was two veterans, who would you like those two veterans to be? Or maybe just give me one that make a difference.
Chandler Jones,
Chandler
because
Jones.
he'd bring that attitude to the defensive line that I think we're missing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these guys don't have attitude, but that edge, like that
Right.
fire, I think Boogie Basham got it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still young. That dog that I don't give a what. I think Chandler Jones will bring that to the D line. That would be awesome if we can get him. I know, and we're not talking cap. We just talking about who we'd like it to be. And I would say Chandler Jones.
Yeah. I guess if it was for me, like I said, I'm still big on the Akeem Hicks train. I would actually love Chandler Jones. Like I said, I think you alluded to the point before where you said Chandler Jones gives you a short-term option to upgrade that defensive line, but not necessarily a long-term financial hindrance when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to re-signing these younger guys.
That's a 2-year deal. What people like, kind of investing in them, like,
Mm.
y'all, you remember last year when I said signing J.J. Watt would be a huge mistake, and
Yeah,
don't
you
do it,
did.
please.
Yeah, you did. I was wrong. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
I
wrong.
said that would be a huge mistake. I think that what they did with him, offer him that 2-year deal. Come here, let's get it. The year one, you balling. Year two, pull back on him, make him more of a sack specialist. I think Russo and Boogie Bash, I'm gonna be ready to just do the damn thing by then. But
Mm.
I think this year you go get him. I'm a Randy Gregory guy. I would love to have him.
You like a
But
lot of you like a little crazy.
yeah, you need that. You need that. You need that. You need that. And honestly, that's what we missed out of Shaq Lawson and them and
Yeah.
Jordan
Another
Phillips.
another guy I think he'll be back. I think Shaq is almost
Oh
guaranteed to
yeah,
be back. Obviously,
yeah.
talking about rumors, he wasn't even a rumor. He released a damn tweet saying, I'm trying to come back home." So
Yep.
Shaq, come on home, Shaq. Because I tell you what, if we rolled out there with Addison and Hughes, we could definitely roll out with Shaq as the 4th defensive lineman. For
If you
real.
just think about this hypothetically, right?
Uh-huh.
Say you come with Chandler Jones,
Okay.
Russo at your starting ends, right?
Okay.
Then you come Boogie Basham and Shaq Lawson as a rotational guys. Think about and these are two guys that got a year experience now in Basham and Rousseau.
Where's
They got a year.
Epinesa? Is Epinesa gone off you? He's gone?
He that fifth one.
Okay.
He could probably possibly be somebody you could trade to get some money
Let
and get some value for.
let me ask you this. If Chandler Jones won his guys and we signed Chandler Jones and he came to Buffalo and we signed nobody else in the defensive line, maybe we drafted one tech, whatever. It's 3rd and 8. Who's your D line? Who's pass rushing? Where's everybody set up
We
on your
got
D line?
and we got Chandler Jones.
We have Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones, Russo on the ends. Boogie Basham at the 3, Ed Oliver at the 1. Let's get it.
Okay. And this is what I've been saying for the last couple of years. The Bills have definitely been wanting to implement, and I call it it's called the NASCAR formation. It's created by the Giants, really, and Steve Spagnuolo. It's when he would honestly put Strahan at defensive tackle. I believe it was put Justin Tuck at defensive tackle as well. Osi Omoyora at defense end, and I believe the 4th defensive lineman was a man from Boston College. I can't remember his name. Matthias Kiwanuka.
Yep, I was about to say I would have botched the name.
Yes, Matthias Kiwanuka. I would love to have, if we can get Chandler Jones, to have Chandler Jones, Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, Boogie Basham. But Boogie Basham in my defense will be more of a defensive tackle. So he'd be that split guy. So I think you end up losing someone like a Justin Zimmer. You lose a little extra piece of defensive tackle that didn't even suit up last year in Vernon Butler and Quentin Jefferson. And
Oh,
Boogie
please don't
Basham.
mention the name again. Vernon Butler?
Vernon Butler? Yeah. Vernon's still counting money, man.
That's like Jordan Mills to me. Let it go.
At least Jordan
Those
Mills
names
played.
scare me.
At least Jordan Mills played, for Christ's sake.
He
He was on the field.
He's the worst right tackle in Bills history.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. We're gonna have to go back and research that because we've had some pretty bad.
He was awful, man. He was a bad football player. Man.
Oh man, the Jordan Mills hate continues years later. Yeah, I mean, I don't think my man Warren's asked about Harrison Phillips. In this scenario, if you get Chandler Jones, you're not resigning Harrison Phillips because you're gonna need the money.
I don't think he come back.
I think he's gonna get a pretty nice contract on the
Yeah, he gonna.
And I don't think it's the fact that the Bills don't want him back, and I don't think it's the fact that he doesn't want to come back. But business is business. He's Walter Payton Man of the Year award multiple times. For Buffalo, he's a great culture guy. He's a hard worker, and especially with teams like the Raiders. And I keep circling the Raiders for him. Teams like the Raiders who need good locker room guys and needs to actually repair their image and repair their locker room that's been fractured. Harrison Phillips, that's a guy maybe you tend to overpay for. Maybe a team like Jacksonville, you're trying to build something, you tend to overpay for him. Same thing goes for a guy like Levi Wallace, who I don't think will be back. I think that those type of teams, Jacksonville, Raiders, those type of teams overpay for guys like that. We're out of that business now. We're asking you hey, we want you to come back, but we want you to come back at a decent amount so we can keep building. And if you're a veteran, you want to come back here and you've been playing in one of those horrible situations, well, yeah, you can come in and play and we can try to get you that thing on your finger that you've been looking for and you're searching for, but you got to do it within our financial constraints. So, like I said, I love Harrison Phillips. I really do, but I think somebody's going to overpay for him in the market. The same with Levi Wallace. And, hats off to him. Get your money, get your bag, no doubt about it. But no, I mean, I think that if you tell me next year going into opening day that our defensive linemen are Greg Rousseau, Chandler Jones, split between AJ Epinesa, Carlos Basham, and Shaq Lawson being your 5th, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
But this is my thing why one of them got to go. Somebody got to contribute on special teams. That's why I think Daryl Johnson is a possibility he may come back.
It's possible. It's possible because I don't think Tyler Matakevich or Andre Smith take on special teams. One of those guys might have to go because of the cap restraints as well.
I think it's gonna be Andre Smith gonna be
I
gone.
think so too. Yeah.
Andre Smith gonna be gone. It's probably he gonna lose a camp battle, in my opinion. He may lose a camp battle if they
Yeah.
don't cut him. Um, but people don't talk about when we traded Daryl Johnson. Um, it's very well possible he could come back and be that fifth defensive end.
No, he could. He could. He played a little bit more defense in at Carolina too. That we traded. We traded him to Carolina, so he
Mm-hmm.
played a little bit more defensive line over there when he went there. Um, so it's
He
gonna
was
be
he was
interesting.
inactive at times.
Yeah, yeah, he was. So like it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I know one of the other rumors that I wanted to get to tonight before we got off here was obviously Dan Dugan released a report today too, saying from the Athletic that the Bills were one of their suitors for Evan Ingram, which I kind of found interesting. You know, this is a name that's been every the last two trade deadlines. His name's been floating around us, and we do know that the Bills are in the business. They want a second number two tight end, but he's not quite the second tight end that I was looking at. And then the part of the other report that was I found kind of weird was teams are looking to move him into a slot receiver. And I'm like, oh, not here in Buffalo, we won't. Not here in Buffalo.
No, JT, no,
I'm not touching that with a 2-foot pole.
no.
Nah.
And if if you're gonna move him in the slot, well, I don't think the Bills would, but I think for a second tight end, no. Yeah, I mean, you need somebody, who's going to be a really good blocker. Because Dawson Knox is a solid blocker, but if you have a second tight end, you got to have somebody that's upgrade blocking wise in the run game. And I
Right.
think that's where Gronk falls in. If we can get him, I just don't see the ever. And maybe you do your due diligence, and agents going to throw that out there. If they call about him and say the Bills call and say, "Hey, how much is he going to want? How much are you expecting out here? What you looking for?" They're going to say the Bills are interested. You know how that go.
Yeah, I mean it's smokescreen season, man. You know it's smokescreen season. That's what it is. Like I say, I find Rob Gronkowski coming to Buffalo more feasible than Evan Ingram, and I know there's an age gap, but for one, I don't see Evan Ingram just signing somewhere to just be the number two tight end.
He's
Okay.
enough.
Two, I don't know how it helps Buffalo out in the run game by bringing a tight end that's pretty much just a receiving tight end. Yeah, I mean it can help, but I don't see the benefit schematically there. So I'd probably go with Gronk on a 2-year deal. I mean, I think you would have to give him a 2-year deal just to lower the cap hit for the first year. But then Ingram. Now, mind you, Ingram, when you start talking about slot receiver, your slot receiver better have great hands. And one thing that Everett Ingram does not have is great hands. Last year, another season with 6 drops and only 63% catch percentage. That's not good enough. 73 targets, 46 receptions in 2021, 109 targets, 63 receptions in 2020. Now, I want you to think about the balls that we gave Cole Beasley. Even in a down year in the slot, Cole Beasley had 82 catches. If we give Evan Ingram at the rate he's going, 82, we try to give him 82 targets. That's mean target catches. That means we're gonna have to give him over 100 targets. Meaning at his ratio right now, he's catching 50 of those, maybe 55. No, 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 no. I'm not touching that. I know how athletic the kid is, and that's great, but no, thank you. Sign me off. Log off.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man. Log off, man. I'm not feeling
Get
that.
that money to Dawson Knox next year.
Yeah, for real. Or draft me somebody in the 4th round. I take my chances elsewhere. But yeah, that was one of the rumors I saw, and I'm like, that seemed like smoke screenish to me. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like
Yeah, my
some
brother
BS.
was telling me about that one. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, if he wants to come here, if you're giving him a 1-year like $5 million prove it deal, I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah,
I think somebody, like you say, people constantly overdraft for speed and they overpay for speed. Ever Ingram has a lot of speed. Someone's going to overpay for that. this offseason. And hopefully it won't be us. Let the
Yep.
Jets do it. They always do it anyway.
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we want to touch on? So, matter of fact, if there's one player that you could trade for right now, obviously, if you guys are living on the rock and you didn't see it, Khalil Mack today was traded, it's being finalized to the Chargers for a 2022 third round pick and a 2026 sixth round pick. Um, Obviously, this again them a tandem of Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. It seems scary. It does. It is scary. But reality, do you think that this puts any more pressure on Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott to make big moves? Because you saying that you woke up today saying the Bills need to make at least 2 moves. You still
You
feel
have
that
to.
way?
You have to
Okay.
because if you don't make any big moves, you're rolling out the same roster as last year, and we can't do that again. I feel you got to make 2 boom moves,
Boom.
like boom, like
One
let them
side of
know,
the
like
ball, both one on each side of the ball. How you separate those two?
one each side of the ball. I
Okay.
think one got to be a D lineman, and
Mm-hmm.
one got or a D lineman or a corner. I think it'll be D lineman because Bean made it known you never got too many good D linemen. It's the
Well,
truth.
we've known that. We've been number one in the salary cap table for defensive line each damn year.
Yeah. So that, and then I'm not a guy that's for trading for a receiver.
Yeah.
Because I know how that can get, and that could turn into a messy situation when you ain't paid Stephon Diggs yet. And let's not forget, Gabe Davis is coming into year 3, so you got 2 more seasons before you got to pay him. So people is, when you look at that, it's like I'm against it. I'm more of a guy draft one and sign a middle of the pack veteran.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in that kind of category. Would I not take a top level receiver? I'm not no damn fool. I would. But I'm just looking at the future because what I don't want to be is a team where we win the Super Bowl 2023. We all happy, and then now we got to start gutting the team, and then we don't sniff a realistic chance until 2028 or some dumb crap like that. I want a realistic chance every year, and you got to be smart with the salary cap and how you structure the team. So I don't want to trade for a receiver, but I would love to trade for a running back if possible to pair with Devin Singletary.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley,
Okay.
fresh start, better offensive line than what he had with the Giants, more weapons around him, quarterback that could run the ball. The boxes he will see, he's never probably seen nothing like that in his life.
Right.
Because they can't play it like that because of Stephon Diggs. The ability to run it by Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, and Gabe Davis now score 4 touchdowns in the game. So the attention he's going to get next year is going to be crazy.
Right.
So I would love to kind of I would trade for Saquon Barkley before I would trade for um,
Christian
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. Okay.
Yeah.
One guy I've been I've been looking at this for a year now. I really have, and I thought maybe last year trade deadline, then maybe this, Danielle Hunter from the Vikings. That's my one guy that I'm like, listen, the Vikings don't know where they're going as an organization. They're not necessarily in a great space cap wise. Danielle Hunter could come in here and do some work. Almost like you say Chandler Jones. You're coming in here, you do some work. He's had some health issues, obviously. And obviously, if you saw the Khalil Mack trade today, I think that set the table for Danielle Hunter trade as far as the parameters. So if Khalil Mack is going to go for a 2022 current second round pick and a sixth round 2023, I think because Danielle Hunter has only played 7 games in the last 2 years, at best, at best, he's a third round pick. At best. And honestly, he
You
may
being
be.
real nice. You must have had a good dinner because you being very generous. Fourth at best for me, but
At,
third I can see you saying third.
right. So I think at best of desperation, it's a third round pick. Okay. And I'm taking consideration that the Bills are picking at the end of each round. At best, he's that. But this is a guy I think can make waves here in Buffalo. And another LSU guy, Trey White, LSU, bring guys into the locker room. They're familiar. It blends them in. He's a good football player. He's a very good football player. So that's probably my one trade guy that I'm like, listen, this is the move I would make. When you look at the Viking situation, like I said, they're also switching to a 3-4 defense this year, which switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4 and going from defensive end to linebacker to rushing linebacker, that's not always an easy switch at
Not
all.
at all.
It's a lot different from playing with your hand on the ground to standing up. Certain people like Von Miller, they can do it. A guy like Mario Williams was able to do it, but a lot of guys don't like it either. Don't like the switch. So I don't know where Danielle Hunter is actually going to fit in at with their plans personally. But that's just one guy that I was eyeing. Um, when you look at his cap hit, he is due a roster bonus on March 20th. Thanks my girl Sarah Lawson for Bill Stampede for pointing that out earlier, because I put a post out and I didn't even see the roster bonus. I didn't find it on over the cap. So thank her for pointing that out for me. But he is due that. So if anything was going to go down, I would assume it go down before the 20th of March, or you'll probably have to wait to a trade deadline deal if the Vikings are in a tank, which I kind of feel they will be. But moving
You know
on.
who they might end up trading?
Oh,
Delvin Cook.
yeah. It's not far fetched, but so once again, that's another move that may be a deadline deal. If they're in the dumps, anything's possible at that point. Ziggy Wolf's gonna start. Who's the owner of the Vikings gonna start cutting payroll, and we're just gonna blow this thing up. We spent $84 million guaranteed money on Kirk Cousins. We've drafted Delvin Cook. We've paid him. We've drafted Justin Jefferson. We've paid Thielen. We still can't win. Blow it up. That's what's gonna happen. So, but no, it's gonna be interesting, man. All these cap moves. I don't think Feliciano was a surprise, and our guy Brian DC is asking, do you think both Morris and Darrell Williams stay at this point? That's a good question.
Why release him and create a hole? To me, why would you release him and create another hole on the offensive line? I get why you would say that, cap wise, but I mean, why would you cut somebody to create a hole? Now you playing fantasy football. All right, well, let me cut these people on Madden franchise football. You just cut them. Don't sign these. I don't think you cut Mitch Morris, the quarterback of that line. He had a heck of a year last year. And JT, you talked about what to do. Extend him a year.
Extend him 1 year.
Darrell Williams got to take a pay cut though.
If he don't, if he doesn't, he's going.
Don't,
right?
My man Brian, he may be cut if he don't take a pay cut. Darrell Williams, Mitch Morris, I don't think they're gonna cut him at all.
No.
Especially when you cut Feliciano, that basically says 100%. Mitch Morris ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, and Tommy Doyle, Tommy Doyle is going to be your swing tackle for the next couple of years once he gets ready. He's going to still need another year of development, but it was a good question I found earlier from my guy Cody Wells. I'm trying to find it. Cody had two questions. He said, first, do you think Chris Claypool was enough for Tremaine Edmunds? Me personally, I think he is.
I think they would have to throw a fifth in there or sixth.
Okay.
I think the Steelers would probably have to throw something else in there.
Okay. And then,
you got to realize look at his talent and production. That dude Claypool has had some crucial drops, crucial drops.
Yeah.
So think about even that whole Steelers receiving core. Dude, you know what I mean? Where games they'd have won if they wouldn't have dropped the ball. Like Deontay Johnson. I already knew he was going to be the man. I knew he was going to be nice when he was playing at Toledo with my brother.
Right.
He's a baller, but he drops the ball too much. That's the problem the Steelers had was drops.
Yeah, we had that problem too our first year with Brown and Beasley. Remember, we were number one in the league with drops.
Yeah, they got it. Man, people forget that. They look at the stats, but that dude dropped the ball a lot, man. That's a problem.
Right. So Cody asked the question. He said, JT and James, it seems that McBean is frugal on using franchise tag. Could you elaborate on why that may be? In my mind, it would make sense with players in cap space. So I'll speak from this. I'll speak first on this from a point of what they've said about this in the past. I mean, Brandon Beane has been very outright and out front with it that he feels that when players deserve the opportunity to test free agency, that they deserve that they earned that opportunity, and he doesn't like taking it away. Two, I think the second aspect of it is Brandon Beane forms good relationships with agents, because don't forget, you may leave a bad taste in his agent's mouth with one of his clients, and now you have 4 more of his clients on your team in the future, and now it's always going to be tough negotiations moving forward. But you treat his client right here, maybe he gets all four clients to take a little bit less on the table to make it work for the team. Now, James, I want you to talk from a player standpoint of how it feels, what it's like for a player to be franchise tag, how it was the feeling, and this honestly probably the overall instability of the contract over long term.
That that's a good thing. Um, Bills fans, y'all should look at that as a positive
Mhm.
because players know by coming to Buffalo, if you ball out, they won't stick you with the franchise tag. Players hate it. Why? It's a 1 year deal. If you get hurt, look at Chris Godwin,
Yeah.
right? You on 1 year deal. You can't get the money that you deserve. You get hurt, whatever reason, no long term security. You're done. Now you gotta go 1 year prove it deals and all that other crap. So with them not putting a franchise tag on people, players around the league respect that. They respect that. They respect players' ability to go out there and get paid and earn more money and do that. Players look highly on that. Look at Devontae Adams, franchise tag him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not, if somebody want to be there, don't hold them. And I understand, like, if you got a plan with the franchise tag, cool. But, I get why Bean isn't doing it. And that's why players come here, man. That's why players are saying they want to come here. It's the reason why. They got a good rep around the league.
Yeah, I mean that rep is huge because I mean when you were getting drafted, you've already said before, your agent said don't go. A lot of players told you when you were coming out in the draft, don't go to Buffalo when they offered you as an undrafted free agent.
Well, my agent didn't say it.
Okay.
My agent, I wanted to come to Buffalo.
Uh-huh.
My agent was pushing for me to come to Buffalo. So that didn't come from my agent.
Okay.
Players were talking about it when we had workouts,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and they would say, "Man, it's a mess over there in Buffalo," and blah blah blah. And you know, I went to Central Connecticut, so without me telling dudes where I was from, they didn't know I was from Buffalo, New York. So
Right.
they're like, "Man, the Bills a mess over there," and blah blah blah. Like this is chatter people would talk about. Like
Mm.
it was instability. I wanted all parts of Buffalo. I'm from Buffalo. I'm a Bills fan. I wanted to be part of the comeback for the Bills. So I wanted all parts of it. I wanted all the smoke. But yeah, my agent knew it. So and we tried it, but it just ain't work out. But yeah, but no, Buffalo, their reputation has a complete 180.
How far does that reputation stretch around players? Like when you're in Florida and you're working with five other players, maybe two of these guys are free agents. When one guy said, "Nah, man, don't go there," does that carry a lot? Does that hold a lot of weight?
Everybody know everybody. It's a very, very small network. Very
Mm-hmm.
small network. Um, I can literally make, let's say, any player. I can make a few phone calls, and I'll get in touch with somebody that knows that person or
Mm-hmm.
connected to that person somehow, some way. When I talk to college coaches, somebody knows me from somebody. Well, I know you. You played for such and such, or you played with this person. It's a very, very small network, very small. Because once you get higher and higher up in that level, it's not many people that played at that high of a level. So if you played there, people gonna know you, and then you network from there. So it's not like we're talking, hundreds of thousands of people that play in the NFL. You know, it's not many that play in there from season to season. So it's a very small network. Everybody knows everybody.
Right. Well, James, I mean, I think that's about it. But we covered about an hour, and like I said, it was an impromptu show, man. Things started happening there. I got on the phone with James, and obviously, you guys see us every Tuesday, and I said, let's do an impromptu show. We just gotta go live. It's too much. It's too many. It's too many things to talk about to not be talking. So why not jump on here tonight? Talk with you guys, and obviously the viewership is still up tonight. So you guys are ready for free agency and everything that's going to happen, just like us. I mean, I'm having nights where I'm not sleeping too well right now. I want to know what's going to go. What's going on. So
I don't want to miss nothing.
no, I don't miss a thing either. I remember when the Bills traded for Stephon Diggs, I was asleep, man. I fell asleep early with my phone in my hand. And I woke up next morning, I think 3 o'clock, and the TV on to a whirlwind. My phone was going crazy. I had, I think, 1,000 messages. I had text messages. I had missed calls. It was like the whole world had went on fire. So, it was insane. So I don't want to miss that again either. So all these nights, man, I'm up. It's like 2, 3 in the morning. Like, all right, it's safe time to go to bed now. But no, I can't wait to free to open up. I'm thinking about possibly doing a CFR free agency primer, maybe Sunday night. I have to talk to Clayton and the guys. I know your your guys are gonna be out in Michigan. You're doing it with was it AUS? AS,
UAS, United
UAS,
Athletic
UAS.
Services.
Right. You guys gonna be in
We'll be going to Michigan. We leave out early Saturday, so we compete in a huge tournament. So we're gonna be representing the 716. We're gonna hold it down. Don't worry about it. We
yeah.
holds that down. We got it.
Well, good luck to you guys out there. And like I said, maybe
Thank
we'll
you.
come back this week and do something else. Like I said, man, there's so many things to talk about. As things happen, you'll see me on Tuesday, but you may see us multiple times a week. If it's important, we'll be here talking about it. So that's the plan for the off season. Most other off seasons, I take like most of the time off. Not this year. We're going hard all year, man. All year we going around the clock. As Chris Berman said, no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo with James and JT, Mookie Hawkins, and all my other guys. We gonna circle the wagons all summer, man. So we'll be here. But hey, as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you like and share the show. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube page, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. And yeah, other than that, man, a lot going on. Rumors everywhere. Go Bills. Thank you for tuning in to now your Thursday touchdown. And we will catch you guys next time as always. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Catch you later. Peace.
Peace out.